Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it anywhere and everywhere. You can even earn money all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works.
Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today.
Then you can go ahead and distribute your podcast to Spotify and anywhere else podcasts are heard.
Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take the conversation with your fans to the next level, Q&A polls are the best way to get them talking.
With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions.
And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. We've been using Spotify for Podcasters, and we highly recommend you give it a try. Download Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters and get started. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of That's So Fringy podcast. I'm Kristin.
I'm Rick.
And I'm Bethany.
And we are here with another Fringy Morsel.
My favorite.
You're dang right we are.
So we wanted to start a little bit. I mean, there's so many topics we could have picked from. There's no shortage of weird things, weird happenings.
Yeah, there's plenty going on in the world right now. So.
But we wanted to go with a lot of fringy news coverage on the Ohio train derailment. Well, not just that, but there's been a lot of train derailments. But I also can honestly say I don't keep track of how many train derailments there normally are. So I don't know.
There is about 1,700 per year.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I would have never known that.
No.
I would have never thought that there was that many train derailments in a year, but I feel like there might be a little more spread out typically.
Right.
I feel like there's been a lot kind of back to back to back to back.
And pretty like catastrophic ones.
Yeah, not just like a train derailment, which I'm not sure how that happens, but toxic spillage.
Yeah, this was kind of a biggie.
Yeah, like big deal.
So we don't need to probably rehash all of the nuts and bolts of it. Literally nuts and bolts of it. But East Palestine, Ohio, February 3rd, train derailment. Let's see. There was, I think the main chemical was vinyl chloride, but there was other chemicals in the cars that derailed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well then they have this vinyl chloride there, and it's super toxic, and so they decide in their wisdom, whoever they are, they wanted to light it on fire.
Right. I don't know if that's standard either.
I mean, I don't think that's standard protocol for dealing with a hazmat substance to just burn it. I mean, at that point, you're just turning it into, particles that are going to fly through the air, and it's easily. That's a new easily
word.
Distributed. I think I was trying to say easily distributed, and I said it all together.
There's a mashup.
It's fine.
It's
Fringy
a new
mashup.
Word. So anyway, it's easily distributed when you light it on fire. I mean that you're sending it up.
Distributed to a way bigger area, because we're talking. I don't know what the jet streams are like over there, but I mean that can go thousands of miles.
Yeah, so it's in the water. It's in the air.
Right. So I think as of last week or whatever, there was something like 45,000 animals that had died. And I think originally they had put out a thing that said that there was like 3,000 or 4,000. And it's like way surpassed that. And what's funny, when we started doing some research on this, was almost all, if not all, the articles we read that were mainstream media articles talked about what the conspiracy theorists were talking about. They didn't really give any facts to refute anything that the conspiracy theorists were talking about. All they were saying was the conspiracy theorists are saying this and this and this and this.
Yeah,
Did you find that weird?
This train derailment is cause for conspiracy theorists to come out, in droves. I just don't why are you so focused on conspiracy theory? Why aren't you focused on the actual people and the animals and don't get me wrong, there are some news channels that are talking about those things, but as we know from our, Mockingbird episode, that the news is so controlled that they're only going to tell you or show you what they want you to see. What they're not telling you or showing you is that they have all these other things going on in the world, like chemical truck explosions and, a chemical spill at a yogurt factory. There was something on February 14th. There's been lots of train derailments just in the last 2 months. I mean, you had one in Lake City, South Carolina, one in Zanesville, Ohio, Loris, South Carolina. I mean, there's been a ton. There was even one where I don't know if you guys saw this one. They had a pipe bomb that they found near the railway in Philadelphia. It was an 18-inch pipe bomb. Was it an actual pipe bomb? Yeah, it was an 18-inch pipe bomb. The bomb squad went in there and checked it out and disposed of it. And it's just like, why is there a pipe bomb on the railroad tracks when all of these trains seemingly are, and they're stating that it was malfunction of the wheel or something like that. But didn't this thing skid for like 20 miles?
Yeah. There was also a propane one in Florida just a couple days ago.
Oh, that's right.
And I saw a video of a semi-truck just parked in the middle of the train tracks, and the train hit what is going on with the train system right now?
Well, there was that one in Greece where those two trains collided, head-on collision, and there was explosions and a bunch of people were hurt or died. It's like, do people just not know how to drive trains anymore, or are they not, maintaining them the way that they should be?
I mean, something had to have been going on with the train, because they captured, people's security footage and all kinds of stuff to try to figure out. And it said that the train had visible fire coming off the wheels of a car for 20 miles before it derailed. 20 miles. Nobody thought maybe we could slowly stop this thing. Maybe we could even quickly stop this thing, but keep it on the damn rails. 20 miles, there was fire coming off of one of these wheels, and then they just waited until it derailed. It just doesn't make any sense.
Seems weird.
Sus.
Weird.
It's, as the children say, it's sus.
As our teenagers say.
Super sus.
Well, if you're driving this train, what do they call them? Conductors?
Yes.
Anyway, the conductor, at what point is he going to, see that there's sparks coming off of the... I mean, that's his job, right?
Do they have rear view mirrors? I don't know.
Well,
is it too long that maybe he couldn't see?
I think there's multiple conductors. There's one in the front and one in the back.
If it's X amount of cars long, they have to have.
Yeah.
Well,
I know it's very technical. We have a friend who works for the railway. Yeah. He's got a very stressful job. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of safety protocols in place. Yeah. So it just makes you wonder.
It boggles the mind, because it's not just happening here in America. Obviously, it happened in Greece, and it's happening all over the place. And it makes you wonder what is going on, because they've got all of these food plants also are blowing up. Mm-hmm. You've got chemical spills everywhere. So, you've got chemicals in the water everywhere. Kristin was telling me something about, where does all that water from East Palestine come from? Isn't it there's an underground cistern or something like that?
We were watching,
the aquifer.
Yeah, we were watching that David Paulides Missing 411, the UFO one, and he's got a whole map of the underground aquifer and how all the water runs into this system that basically goes through the middle of the country and it goes through the Midwest. It's crazy. If it gets down into that stuff, then it goes all the way out to the Gulf of Mexico.
Yep. I thought it was really interesting too. Didn't they have the governor or somebody some politician go drink the water in
Oh,
East
yeah.
Palestine.
The
Like,
guys from the EPA were down there, and they were making a
Really?
show of it. And
Yeah,
everything.
total
like, oh,
show.
everything's fine. But then you see people on TikTok or social media, the people that are actually living there, posting
Yeah.
things online that are showing you that there's chemicals all in the water, and there's like thousands of fish that have died, and there's,
Right.
people
there's
are getting like rashes.
Yeah.
and-
Yeah. I mean,
It's-
and not just fish. Like this one gal's, her chickens all died. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like,
Well, and to bring it into the political sphere, like Biden hasn't even shown up over there. He didn't go over there.
was in Russia.
Yeah, he went to
Isn't that-
Ukraine.
or in Ukraine. Isn't that
Yeah, he
more
went to Ukraine.
important?
Well, and
Come on.
what's
he
that?
had to go kiss Zelensky.
Janet Yellen, I think it was. She was over there, and they were like making a big deal of us giving them money.
Yes.
So instead of sending money to our own citizens in East Palestine and making this a priority, they're making it a priority to go to Ukraine and give them billions of dollars that, because they're having a war, and that's a whole nother episode. But it's like this is what this dude's priorities are. He's going over there and doing that. And this isn't a bash on Biden. It's a bash on the American government, like
Yeah.
the administration. Like, why aren't we paying more attention to this, whether it's Biden or Trump or anybody in office? But I will say that Trump did go down there, by the way. He
Yeah.
did make an appearance down there, and he was buying food for the firefighters, and he was doing all kinds of stuff. So
He brought in like pallets of water bottles, so
Right,
that
because you
they
got to
could
think these
drink
people
water.
can't drink the water, but they also like. Do you want to bathe in it?
Right.
Do you want to let your pets drink it? Like, I mean, think of all the things in a day that you use water for out of your tap.
Yep.
It's crazy. Do you want to flush your toilet with it? I mean, you don't want to do anything with it.
Yeah, you have to bathe your children with it.
Right.
And it's like, no, I'm not doing that.
No.
And people just, and their EPA's telling them, it's fine. For those people that evacuated, it's fine. Come back, and
Or the people that have private wells. Another thing that made me mad was they were like, "Oh yeah, you can come back, but you've got to test your own well." It's like, I'm sure that they can probably just call up anybody and be like, "Hey, can you come test my well?" You think those people are probably overwhelmed?
Yeah.
Like, can we not have a Red Cross or a company come out that can individually test these people's water before they go home?
Well, this railway company makes billions of dollars, and they can't send a whole fleet full of people out there to test this water. And I mean, like, come on, guys.
So it was Norfolk Southern. That was the railway company.
Shout out.
They did. They did offer $25,000 in damages to the town of East Palestine.
Oh, 25,000.
For blowing up a town,
So $1
poisoning the
each.
air, poisoning the water, and killing all pets and livestock. Yep, $25,000.
What is that like? Yeah, it's like
I'm sure since then they've
Dollars.
come up with
Yeah. Dollars.
more.
Per
but
family?
even just to offer that at the beginning, like that was a legit offer that they gave them, the town.
It's
like,
Chernobyl 2.0.
wait.
it's like they just don't care.
Right. So vinyl chloride was the main chemical that was in it, but there was also ethyl hexyl acetate, which is a carcinogen that's harmful if swallowed and is toxic to aquatic life with long-lasting effects. There was ethylene glycol monobutyl, which is a carcinogen that can be absorbed through the skin and cause liver and kidney damage. There was butyl acrylate, which is an extremely flammable chemical that can burn the skin and the eyes and cause permanent lung damage. And there was isobutylene, which is a highly flammable compound that can irritate eyes, nose, and throat and cause coma or death at high levels of exposure. Those were the other 4 chemicals.
I'm curious, what are they using those chemicals for in the first place?
I think the
I'm
vinyl
not-
chloride is to make plastic.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're not
But,
even
like-
supposed to
Use it
put
for all
plastic
kinds
in
of
your
stuff.
fireplace.
Right. Like, it's just, I don't know. It all seems
And
weird.
they caught the whole thing on fire. It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
And not to mention, like, yeah, we're seeing water contaminated and we're seeing animals dying right now, but what about in 20 years? Mm-hmm. When
Exactly.
these other 2 are highly carcinogenic. Like, what are we going to see from these poor people in 20 years? Or is it going to be, what was that Aaron Brockovich movie? Where all of a sudden people were getting sick, or that DuPont. I know we talked about it a little bit before, but birth defects, like, what are we going to see? What's the fallout going to be of all this later?
Right.
And why is nobody talking about it?
Yeah.
Well, they should be, because this is where we get into the conspiracy theory of things, is where big business can literally do whatever they want, and the administration doesn't care, the politicians don't care, the people that we elect to take care of us and to make things right, they don't care. And so now they're getting to the point where all they can talk about is the conspiracy theorists and their stupid ideas about what's actually going on in the world. But that's all they can say, is that we're dumb. They can't dispute that all of these things are fact.
Right.
Animals are dying. Water is this. The president hasn't been there, or has he? And there's all of these different things that people are trying to, it's like, look over here, don't look over here. And then they're attacking the conspiracy theorists. But all we're saying, and I'm one of them, all we're saying is big business needs to be held accountable. If they're going to run a railroad track through this town and then blow it up, then they need to be paying out. They need to be taking care of these people. It shouldn't be the government coming in and taking care of these. I don't care if the EPA goes over there. Mm-hmm. I want that company to take responsibility for what they've done.
Or maybe, I don't know, because wasn't it the same conductor, engineer, whatever, that was in another train derailment like the week after? It was the same. It was the same guy.
They should be put on leave
It might
for
have
a
been.
while.
I mean,
Somebody might want to check his coffee.
I'm sure there's going to be some kind of, lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff going on later, but you can bet that they have some kind of insurance that's going to cover their end, so they're not going to have to pay all this money. But in the meantime, who takes care of these people?
Right. Yeah.
Because $25,000, it comes out to like a measly $5 per resident of the town. I don't know about anybody else, but we can't even go to McDonald's. We have 6 kids. We can't even go to McDonald's and get nothing. We can't even get ice water for everybody for $5.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do anything. And these people had to, at the very least, they had to leave their homes for days, weeks. We don't even know how long some of them are going to have to be gone.
Yeah. Who paid for their hotel rooms?
Who paid for their gas? Who paid for their food? Come on.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I love about the American public, is American people are paying for that stuff. People are giving money. They're setting up GoFundMes. They're doing, the patriots in America are doing everything that they need to do to give these people peace of mind and know that we American people care about them. That's why we're talking about it on our podcast, and that's why people are setting up these accounts and sending money over there, because obviously the railway company doesn't give a shit. Obviously the president doesn't care. The EPA is just trying to drink some water on TV, probably out of a water bottle that they poured into a cup. Like, come on, man.
They didn't even touch it. They barely touched it to their lips.
They probably went to the...
Take a gulp of that, and then...
Well, and even then, the water could have come from anywhere. We have a camper that has a water tank on it. You could have filled that up from bottled water and hooked it up to the sink and turned it on. Who knows where the water came from? I want to go see him jump into the river down there and swim with all those dead fish.
Yeah.
I want to see him go. Yeah, I want to see him go splash around in that weird water that won't boil.
Well, the government, or the governor over there in Ohio probably wouldn't be able to swim very well because he hurt his ankle while he was over there. Did you hear about this? He hurt his ankle and he's wearing a boot now, which is interesting.
I wonder if there's a rash under there.
I mean, there might be a specialty bracelet that he might be wearing on his leg or something like that.
One of those fancy anklets.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you were listening to this, and you might want to go back in the last 2 years and see how many celebrities and politicians have been wearing boots because they hurt their ankle or leg. You might find some interesting things about that. But that's just a lead-in to something else entirely. So anyway,
so my other
back
question
on track.
is, these people
I do that
all over have been finding this white powdery, mysterious powder falling from the sky. What do you guys think that is?
Cocaine.
Probably cocaine. No way.
They wouldn't waste it.
They would
Come
not.
on. You got to pay good money for that.
And that would be cleaned up in no time.
That's true.
Well, those
Hunter Biden would be like, on it.
On it.
On it.
I got it, Dad.
Send me, Dad.
he's like, "Can I be the head of the EPA?"
I think, we own the EPA, right?
Maybe he could sell his art and donate that money to the
there you go.
folks there in East Palestine.
There's a lot of research to be done.
Yes.
But my biggest frustration in researching it was there was very little fact about anything, why they did what they did, why the train derailed. I mean, I know a lot of that's probably still under investigation, but there was not a lot of information to be found except for the wacky conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, and the mainstream media isn't focusing on the things that they should be focusing on. Or
Shocker.
they weren't even focusing on it at all.
Well, the mainstream media, remember, go back and listen to our other episodes, is the CIA.
Right. They're not going to let you know what's going on.
They definitely don't want people to know.
So what are they doing? They're shooting down UFOs. We're blowing stuff up all over the place. The food, they're jacking up the gas prices. They're doing all this different stuff. It seems like they're trying to run us into the ground. It seems like they're trying to starve us. They're trying to make us broke. They're trying to get rid of the middle class. It sounds very oddly a lot like, I don't know.
The Committee of 300?
Population control.
Yeah.
Trying to take away our food.
This is what I hope
pollute
people
our water.
will see, is that these agendas that they have already established and they've been written about for 30, 40, 50, hundreds of years, we're seeing this stuff happen. We're seeing it happen. And very few people actually are questioning anything. They're like, or they question it to the point where they're like, oh, that's kind of weird, but whatever, kind of how we were years ago, where we're like, the government will take care of us. The people, Red Cross will take care of us, all this stuff.
Yep.
But go back and read their agendas. Go back and read who's funding all of these things. They're not here to take care of us.
And it's the 2030 agenda. So
right.
So if that's when they want it to be completed by, then don't you think they would be doing that stuff right now?
Yeah, probably.
So 2030 is the agenda. 2023, mass chaos in the streets.
They're bumping up against a timeline for sure.
Yep.
Anyway, we're just giving you a morsel. Go do some more research. Send us an email. Send us messages. We like to hear from everybody. We like to get your perspective on it, because I think regardless of, I don't like the political stuff personally. It's not my thing. But regardless of where you land on any of those spectrums, we need to be talking about it, period. Like we need to open dialogue, and that's how you learn things, is by bouncing ideas off of other people, whether they're like-minded or not. It doesn't really matter. Just talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, the time for fighting is done.
Yeah.
Like, we've tried that. We've raced that horse.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that Days of Thunder movie with Tom Cruise. I don't know
I've
if you
never
guys have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a race car movie. Anyway, he keeps burning up his tires. Tom Cruise keeps burning up his tires, and he tells him, okay, I want you to go out and do 50 laps on your way, and then you're going to do 50 laps my way. And basically what he was telling him is, if you're going to keep doing the same stuff, you're going to keep getting these bald tires. But if you do it my way, the guy that's been racing forever, I'll show you how to make fast times and not have bald tires. And that's what we need to do. We've been fighting forever.
Right. They've had one side against the other.
We know how to
since the
do
dawn
that.
of time.
So why don't we Americans say, I don't care what the government's doing. Why don't we get together and have these conversations and talk about them logically back and forth, and say, I don't care what Biden's doing. I don't care what Trump's doing. I care about what the American people are going through and how we can figure out how to make this better. So let's stop fighting. We've tried that. Let's start having good conversations.
Yep.
Preach.
Preach.
All right, you guys, that's another Fringy Morsel for you. Chew on that.